local models?
Yeah, so as some of you may know, I've gone down the rabbit hole of OpenClaw, and I've done a ridiculous amount of agent generation there. I started with OpenClaudia, which is my personal administrative assistant who also manages a bunch of areas of my life. Then I decided to see some different model implementations or different sort of pattern implementations inside the OpenClaw system. So I made a flywheel application called Wall Street, and then I have a primary agent, which is Jordan Belfort, who's responsible for all the agents with inside my Wall Street implementation. And their goal is to make money. And so I don't touch it at all. In fact, I have no input into that. They're working out strategies. I bought them an account at Quiver. Quiver allows you to pull in congressional and Senate and large whale trades. So they have that as an input. And then I do have a hot tip channel when someone's like, oh, you should really look at this company. I'll like put it in there, but they go through their evaluation. Then I attached it to Alpaca, and now they're doing trades. So they're doing paper trades. I'm not stupid, all right? But they have made money, so maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. All right. So then I created another one. Some of you may know I accidentally took over an HOA by force. So my goal there is that no humans need to actually run an HOA ever. So I built an entire agent system that deals with the financials and the homeowners and all that kind of stuff. And that's just coming online. So I wanted to sort of explore different different implementation styles of agent sort of ecosystems. While I was doing that, as you may know, if you're doing those, you can either get super hit with token charges, or you can do an OAuth implementation, and then now OpenAI runs all of those essentially for $200 a month, which is great. But at some point they're gonna lock that door, and we're gonna have to start paying for tokens. So how can we make that cheaper? So I realized that agents do a lot of the same things over and over and over, depending on their role. Like they're doing the same things. I don't need a foundation model that understands the War of 1812 to do a financial analysis or to answer an email, right? So I started realizing that what we should be doing is pulling off agent-to-agent communication. So I deployed A-to-A servers onto all my OpenClaw implementations, and I forced them to use A-to-A. So I got open telemetry, so I could see what's going on inside those transactions. Then I started pulling off pairs, and then I would run Claude in the background to do evaluation of, are these agents understanding the intent of use of one agent? Like, can one agent just like call the wrong agent, over and over? And does the receiving agent actually answer correctly and know what's to do and know the tools to call and those kind of things? And then once I was able to sort of segregate those off, then I had sort of good training data. So I had a large model look at another large model and be like, this is good. Okay, so now I've got truth of, like, as good as LLMs could give me truth of, like, these interactions are good, these interactions are bad. Okay, I could take the good interactions. And then I started, used MLX on Silicon because I have a bunch of Mac Minis. How many people have Mac Minis? Thank you. So I started training models on Silicon because my goal was, how small of a model can I actually make run an agent? And it turns out Qwen 2.57b can adequately run an agent if you have enough training data to go, this is what this agent does. Because, right, agents, we all talk about like knowledge and skills and implementation, but reasoning is actually the problem a lot of times for agent. And we just throw huge models at the reasoning problem. So I built something called Lyceum, which is a training system, and basically it flywheels. Every interaction that the agents have get judged, and then the good judging gets pulled off into training data sets, and then we flywheel training models until those training models can start competing with the big models, and then we swap those models in underneath the agent, and then we just continue that cycle, all right? So the Lyceum project, which is what we have here, I had Claudia put together slides. So like, here's what the gap is, right, from a training ratio perspective. and then the dominant patterns that we ended up with, like how do the patterns actually work inside the system. So we did that one, the multiple patterns. And then we decided that we were going to go and do some distribution, so that way we can figure out sort of where along the distribution line we start to get some kind of feedback and goodness. And then we start getting training results back. And we can actually take a very small model and actually make it reason LoRa trained on the same data set that we wanted, that these large models are doing, right? Because now this agent can actually perform and work. Now it's not as good, obviously, but every rotation through the flywheel, it gets smarter, because we can take good and set that aside and train more and train more. So every time it has a good interaction, it gets rewarded, and then we train on that good interaction, these very small models, and then we slide them up underneath the agent, and then we just continue that process. All right, that's fine. Thank you. Well, here's my loss curve. Yeah.
So like normally, how many like tokens big would the data set you're training like smaller models be?
Well, what's great is I get them for free, so I pay no attention, right? But I'm sure it's very expensive. But on the silicon side, to actually train the Qwen model is free. Now, I will tell you that running about 300 and some pairs of training data into it takes about 20 or 30 minutes on that's an M2 Mac Mini. So because I'm sort of lazy, I went and convinced somebody to buy me a Spark. And so that takes less than a minute on a Spark to actually do that same training. So now I'm doing all my training data sets over on a Spark, and I get them done in a minute or two, and then it gives it back to me. And then we can plug that back in. It's really, the problem I now have is content generation. I have to use the system in order to generate data for the agents that need to be trained, which means I have to use the system in a way that those agents get exercised and done. Now, that's the reason why I built Wall Street, really, is because that's just a circular system that all the agents are talking all the time, every 5 minutes, and it generates a ton of pairs. And then we're judging all those pairs. So the Wall Street agents will get trained a lot faster. But this is what I got running under OpenCloud.
Are you renting out time on your Spark?
I never thought, but if you want to use it, I'll give you a tail scale access to it. Exactly. Yeah, that's how it works, right? Yeah.
First steps when you get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I'm kind of wondering about the training situation. If you've got several Mac Minis, would there be an advantage to, say, having another one that's running your agent, but just continually just running as a training exercise, so that when it populates, then you can just pump the training data into that?
Well, yeah. No, so the training data I get for free, because as agents have conversations, I force them to go through an A to A server, and the A to A server is what actually ships off the training data. It just copies conversations. So I get, what model was it? What latency was it? How many tool calls did it have? What was the request? What was the response? I've written a section that tells every agent what their purpose is. So when I'm doing judging, I can tell, did the agent get called with the wrong purpose, or did the agent screw up? Because if you call a financial agent with customer service over and over and over, you'll see it'll start drifting, because its memory and dreaming will start pushing it into being a customer service agent. Even though you think in your head Glenn is a financial agent, Glenn doesn't know how to do, loses the ability to do financials, right? So this system at least I can judge if an agent's being called with the right intent and that it respond with the right purpose. So, but it's free. To collect the data is free, because it's just running into a data store, and then the judging is what costs money. And now what I'm doing is I just threw up a Qwen, I think it was the 27B model on the Spark. So now I'm not even running Claude or OpenAI to do the judging component, because that's pretty easy, right? Yeah. Yep.
Any other
We all good?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
What was your returns on the Wall Street project?
I'm at plus $97 after 2 weeks.
Okay.
So like, I feel I'm crushing it.
Start with one or what?
Oh well, so Alpaca. What's nice about Alpaca is Alpaca lets you do paper trades. So like they give you $100,000 of like play money, and then you have to like turn on like real trades. So I've just been running paper trades, but I'm up $97 in 2 weeks. I'm like,
97 on 100,000.
hey, don't be that way. Well, but I didn't invest 100,000, right? I mean, we're just buying as we see the congressmen and senators buy things. We determine is that a good buy, and then we buy those things, right? So
Insider trading.
right. Well, I'm not inside.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Thank you.